Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session today. This is the first in a series of 3 sessions on the topic of critical thinking. And it gives me great pleasure and privilege to have the honor of introducing Sahib Karim Khan, the speaker that we have for today. So my name is Shireen Hirani and I'm helping UCA as a TKN management consultant. And Sahib is the speaker for all the 3 sessions that we have announced on the topic of critical thinking. And today is the first on that in that series. Sahib is an adult learning and organizational development expert. He's also an author and an internationally renowned speaker. He's got more than 16 years of corporate exposure associated with organizations like Marriott International, Mobilink, Navitus, Stimulus, and our very own, the Aga Khan University Hospital. Sahib has recently authored a book titled Leading in a Quantum World, which he wrote to help leaders instigate change. He has trained, coached, and consulted many organizations across Pakistan and the UAE, including some of the Fortune 500 companies like on the areas of leadership, performance management, customer service, and change management. He has studied in Ireland and in the UK. He has certified as a Six Sigma professional, as a train the trainer, and there are many other certifications that we don't have time to list right now. He's also received many recognitions, awards, and accolades throughout his career, the most prestigious one being the Mobilink Century Club Award for Excellence. So welcome, Sahib. Thank you so much for your generosity of your time to conduct not just this one, but 3 sessions on this one topic. And before we start, if you don't mind, I do have 2 questions that I would like to ask, if that's okay.
Sure, Shireen. Thank you very much for your kind words. And yeah, please go ahead.
So the first question I have is, and also looking at the number of attendees that we have, we've got about 20 plus participants here at 11 o'clock here in, Kyrgyz time. So which is, right in the middle of the day. And so many people have taken the time out to listen on this topic of critical thinking. So I can safely assume that we understand the reason why we should develop the skill of critical thinking. But I would like to know from you, why did you think of this topic? Why do you think it's important in today's day and age to develop the skill of critical thinking?
Okay. Shireen, to be very honest with you, critical thinking is one of the most important things that anyone needs in today's day and time. So we are living in a quantum era today, where world is being driven by these quantum computers and a lot of changes happening. And in these situations, it is very important that we focus on thinking and how to think critically. And as we go in this journey, in this 3-part journey, we will see that why it is so important, what are some of the tools that we can use, and how this is going to impact our lives, not just our professional, but also our personal lives as well. Because at the end of the day, thinking is what makes us ashraful makhluqat, which makes us great, which makes us do all those things that we have achieved so far. So I think these are some of the reasons why we should, regardless of our designation in the organization, regardless of our age, we should learn to think. And that's why I think this is very important.
Thank you. Thank you, Sahib. And I'm sure the UCA family that's joining in the session today, by the way, we've got 28 attendees right now, so the number keeps increasing. The second question I have, Sahib, is, you've in your career delivered many times and developed content and spoken to multiple different audiences. How do you as a speaker then measure impact of what you've spoken about? So for example, today you're talking about critical thinking. How do you measure impact?
Okay, it's a very interesting and very, very, very important question because whenever we meet different organizations, this is one of the questions that good organizations always ask. They ask about the impact. They ask about let me put it this way, return on training investment, ROTI, as we call it in our fraternity. So return on training investment is very, very, very critical. So how do we do it? Well, there are multiple ways to gauge this impact, but Donald Kirkpatrick is considered as the father of return on training investment. And he says that there are 4 levels on which you can evaluate or you can gauge the impact of any learning engagement. So level 1 is, how did the participant feel? So how do we do it? At the end of the session, you will be asking participants, okay, how was the day? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was it boring? Was it interesting? That is the level 1 of evaluation, the very basic one. Then we talk about level 2 evaluation, which talks about what did the participant learn? So at the end of the session, we will be asking them, okay, you said that you had great time. What did you learn? Tell us some of the key learnings that you took out of the session. So that is level 2. Then we talk about the level 3 of evaluation, which talks about the learning or translating whatever they learned into action. So now you are asking participants, okay, level 1, you like the presentation, very good. Level 2, you learned these 3 things. Okay, level 3 is, how are you going to use these tools in your daily life? Because until and unless you are translating the learning into action, it is useless. So that is level 3 of that evaluation. And level 4, as per Kirkpatrick, is the impact in dollar terms. So for example, Sahib attended a session. Before attending that particular session, Sahib was contributing, say for example, in terms of dollar values, $1,000 per month for that organization. Now, after the training, has that increased, decreased, or remained the same? So is the productivity increasing in terms of dollar values? That is the 4th level of evaluation. Now, most of the organizations in the world, they don't go to level 4. In fact, Kirkpatrick himself says that level 4 evaluation is very difficult, very time consuming. But guess what? If you take care of the first 3 levels, if you gauge on first 3 levels, you don't have to do anything about level 4. It will automatically happen. So that is going to be the idea. And as we go forward in this journey, you will see that after each training, after each this learning engagement, we will be sharing some of the action items for the participants. And we would encourage them to work on those things so that we are able to impact on level 3. So that is going to be our objective. And this is how we are going to take this journey forward.
Thank you, Sahib. And I'm excited for that because I think it's important for us, not just for ourselves individually, to evaluate after a session such as this one. How did it impact us personally? And then for the organization to evaluate all the time and investment that we put into the training. Did it result in what we wanted to see as our end goal? So that was brilliant. Thank you for that. So with that, I think we are all ready to start getting enlightened by your topic today on critical thinking. So go for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Irene. If someone could only confirm that you are able to see the presentation as well as hear me.
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
All right. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us today in this session. The next 1.5 or approximately 2 hours that we will be investing today, we'll be talking about some of the things which are very important. And the topic that we will be covering today, the first part of pyramid of critical thinking. So we'll go into the details. My name is Sahib Karim Khan. Professionally, I'm a management consultant and trainer, and I've worked with different organizations. I've been associated with the industry for last 18 years. Out of those last 10 years, hardcore as training and consulting work. Academically, I have an MBA in Human Resource Management from Pakistan and a second master's in Adult Learning and Development from Ireland. I've also got an executive certification in leadership and strategy from the University of Cambridge, UK. During the COVID times, I got the opportunity to write a leadership book as well, titled Leading in a Quantum World, where we are helping leaders become better with the amalgamation of quantum physics and leadership. So what can leaders learn from quantum physics? So that has been the core idea behind this book. This book is available on Amazon for our global audiences. So this is just a short introduction. Very quickly, before we start our session, I would like to share some of the program norms with you so that we are aligned that how we are going to proceed in this journey. So first thing first, I would request all of you to be very active during this session, because we are not physically interacting with each other. We are doing this virtual session, and virtual sessions are generally considered a little dry. So in order for us to mitigate that, I would request all of you to be very active on the chat boxes. And whenever there is any question, you can raise your hands and we can have those discussions. We would like to keep it interactive, two-way, and wherever possible, do use the chat box. That is like the place from which I would know that we are interacting with each other, and you guys are listening and you guys are understanding whatever we are discussing. So chat box is very critical. So what are some of the program norms that we need to take care of? So first thing first is respect. This is going to be the first norm that we will be following in this session as well as in the other sessions. So respect is very important. We need to respect each other. We need to respect each other's opinion as well. So this is the first norm, which I believe that we all should agree upon. And I would like to hear from you in the chat box. Do you agree this being our program norm? Yes or no in the chat box very quickly. Let's see how many of you are awake and listening. Okay, awesome. Fantastic, amazing. All right, what is the second program norm that we need to follow? That is the timeline. So we need to, we'll start on time, and hopefully we will finish every session on time. And I would request all of you to help me in that so that we could conclude on time. Because this is going to be an interactive session, I am going to ask you to do a few things during the session, and those would be time bound, so I would require your help in that. Next, we have, please avoid using cell phones during this 2 hours that we are investing here. Listening is very, very important. Listening is very, very important. So we would request all of you to listen to each other during this conversation. And a very quick question, and you may respond to that in the chat box. What is the relationship between listening and respect? Can anyone share in the chat box? What is the relationship between listening and respect? All right, in the chat box, what do you think is the relationship between listening and respect? Okay, Kareem says it shows that you value what the speaker has to say. Okay. Fazabad says to respect someone, you need you to listen him. Okay. If you listen to someone, means you are respecting them. Very good. Amazing. When we listen to someone's ideas, it means we respect him or her. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for being so interactive. You are absolutely right. So listening and respect have a direct correlation with each other. One of the ways to show respect is to listen. And guess what? We all have the right to disagree with each other, but we do not have the right to be disrespectful. So difference of opinion is a very good thing. It shows that we are using our brain, we are thinking, but how you share that disagreement with other has to be in a respectful manner. So that is very, 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 very important. So perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate that input from you. Okay, next questions. So during this the series of discussions that we'll be having, I would request you that if you have any question, please do ask. There are no such things as a stupid question in my dictionary. So there is no such thing as a stupid question. Whatever question obviously relevant to the topic comes to your mind, please do ask, because that is the idea. That is how we are going to learn. And the topic that we are discussing today is connected with questioning. So we'll be talking about that in a little while. So last but not the least, one of the program norms is the life philosophy. And what is the life philosophy? We call it learning is fun every day. Now, again, a very quick question. How many of you have experienced learning to be fun during your college days? How many of you? Yes, no. Were the learnings, were the lectures fun, or were they boring? Come on, let's see. What do you think in the chat box? Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting. So some of the people believe that, they were always fun, and some of them believe that, most of the times it was not fun. Okay. Interesting. So now I have a question. So do you want these sessions to be fun sessions, or do you want them to be the boring ones that recall you of your college days? How do you want this session to be? In the chat box. Okay, some smiley faces. That's great. All right, fantastic. So all of you believe that it needs to be fun. All right, now I have another question. Who is responsible to make these sessions fun? Is it you? Is it me? Or is it every one of us? Who is responsible for this? Okay. Kareem says Shireen. All right. Amazing. Yes, you all are absolutely right. It is going to be us. We all need to make sure that these sessions are fun. So how we are going to do that? It's very simple. We will try to keep it interactive. And whenever you have a question, please do ask. Whatever activities that we'll be doing together, your interest in those activities will make this session more fun. And again, in the chat box, I would like to know from you, what is your why? Now let's talk about this a bit, and then we'll ask you what needs to be done. Simon Sinek is a very good author, and he has written a book titled Start with Why. So those of you who are interested in reading, please do give this book a read. Start with Why. Here, Simon Sinek says that, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to do in your life, it is very important that you understand, you identify your why. Why are you doing it? So for example, today's session, why am I running this session today? Why are you investing your time in this session today? So starting with why is very critical, very important for our life. So I would like to know from you in the chat box, what is your why? Why are you here today to attend this session? Let's hear from you. What is your why? I want to improve my discussion, argument skills, to know new methods and tools for critical thinking. Always ready to learn new things. Theme is interesting for me. I would like to learn something about critical thinking, to mitigate post-truth, okay? To learn new skills, thinking clearly, and to improve the way we express our ideas. Okay, very interesting. What about others? What is your why? Let's hear from you guys. Okay, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Your chat box is only the way through which I can imagine if you guys are with us or not. Are you guys awake or asleep? Let's see in the chat box. What about others? Why are you here? To learn new insights on critical thinking, okay? Okay, to gain new skills, all right. To find an answer on how to use critical thinking in my daily life, okay, very interesting. To refresh my current knowledge, okay, that's great, all right. So fantastic. So we will try to okay, to solve problems using critical thinking. Okay, fantastic. So we will try to focus on these goals as we go forward. Let me quickly hide this again. Okay, all right. So now that we have learned what are your whys, let's quickly look at the learning agenda for these sessions. The module 1 that we are running with you, we'll be focusing on developing thinking synapses. We'll be understanding the foundations of thinking. How do we think? We'll be talking about developing growth mindset. What is growth mindset? What has it to do with critical thinking? And then we'll be talking about the 5 steps of critical thinking. This is going to be the module 1. Then in the module 2, next time we'll be talking about the 6 dimensions of thinking, which is inspired by Edward de Bono's 6 thinking heads. Very, very interesting concept. Then we'll be talking about some of the tools which could help you think critically on your toes. And we'll be talking about the DMAC tools. We'll be talking a little bit about design thinking as well. So these are multiple tools that we will be using during this journey. So the idea is that we'll talk about the foundations a bit today. And then as we go forward, we'll be talking about some hardcore tools that you can use every single day to improve your critical thinking. So that is going to be the idea of these sessions. So are we good so far? Yes, no, in the chat box, please. Are we good? Okay, I'm unable to see the chat. Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you. So we are good to move forward. Okay, let's move forward from here and talk a bit about how are we going to start this particular journey. All right, so again, in the chat box, I would like to know from you, in your opinion, what is one or some of the biggest challenges that you are facing today in your life, in your personal life, or in your work. I would like you to take 1 minute, think about that challenge. What is that challenge? And if you could kindly share that with us in the chat box. So what is one or more than one challenges that you are facing at this point in time? Let's hear from you in the chat box, please. Let's hear from others. We have around 42 people with us today. So your interactive response is very important. We would like to keep this very interactive. and not boring, not something that reminds us of our college days. So please, okay, doing homework assignments with my kids. Okay, that is very interesting, Manzoora, very interesting, very interesting. What about the rests? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to hear from you. What is your challenge that you are facing in your life today? The idea is that we would like to see if there is any correlation between the challenges that you are facing today, and can critical thinking help you with that? So in order for us to reach that particular position, we would like to know from you first, what are the challenges that you are facing today? Unclear business processes, okay? Balancing social life and work, okay, very interesting. What about rest? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Motivation and time management, okay? Let's take a minute more and see if anyone would like to respond. We have 44, 42 people with us, and we just got about 6, 7 responses. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, are you with us? Are you awake or asleep? Okay, time management, stress management, time management. It seems a lot of people are struggling with time and balancing work life. All right. Okay, Lucas, could you please confirm if you are able to see the screen now? Is it visible? Okay, security is one of the concerns, setting goals and making them happen, all right? All right. Yeah, Lucas, the boxes are there because I'm looking at the chat box. So I'm just looking at the responses that you guys are giving. It will be removed in a while. Yeah, the black boxes will remove. I'm just looking at the chat box. So whenever I open the chat box, you will have that screen. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So just give me a minute, please. All right. So let's talk about, now that you have shared your challenges, let's talk a bit about comfort zone. So when you hear the word comfort zone, what comes to your mind? Again, I would like to know from you in the chat box, what comes to your mind when you see this word, which we call comfort zone? What comes to your mind? What are some of the words that come to your mind when you hear comfort zone? Let's hear from you. Let's see, what do you say? Where I can feel my self-confidence, okay. Boring, all right. Routine life, okay. Routine task, okay. Very interesting. What about others? What comes to your mind when you see the word comfort zone? Yes, the black boxes would always appear whenever I open the chat box. So please don't mind that, because the only way I can see your responses is through the chat box. And whenever I open the chat box, there will be a black box on your screen. So please bear with me, because that's the only way I would be able to see your responses. Okay, so no need to change anything, feeling comfortable with what you have, all right? Avoiding challenges, all right? Okay, Shireen, can we try one thing? Maybe that would help. If I share the presentation with you and you run the presentation at your end, and I open the chat box, would that work?
Yes, let's try that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't mind. We are living in a world of technology, and at times technology has its challenges. And at times we are new to technology, so please bear with us.
So Saqib, you can stop the sharing, yes? And
okay, just 1 second.
Yes. It happens because I couldn't find even solution for this. Last time we also tried to put it in a site, but it's anyway comes.
No problem at all, Ulanbek. Let me email the presentation quickly to Shireen.
Yes, please.
Okay, while I'm sharing the presentation, I would request all the participants to think about it and share their responses as well. Okay, so people are saying avoiding challenges. The comfort zone is when you just open the chat box and you don't want to scroll to see other chats. All right. So habits. Okay. My bad if I missed any of the responses. I'll make sure that I don't. Okay, where I feel safe and relaxed. Okay, self-made boundaries. Okay, very interesting. Okay, now that you have shared what is comfort zone in your opinion, I would like to again know from you, what do you think? Being in a comfort zone, is it good or bad? And for both, if you think it is good, I would like to know from you why. And if you think it is not good to remain in your comfort zone, again, I would like to know from you why. Why do you think that whatever your response is, what is the reason behind that? Let's hear that from you in the chat box, please. Okay, let's hear from you. So we have one of the participants believe that it is good because you feel satisfied. Okay. Another participant shares that leaving it takes a lot of effort and can be scary or intimidating. Okay, very good. Bad, you may be able to miss new challenges. Okay. Sometimes it is good, sometimes it is not good as it kills your motivation. Okay, okay. What about the others? What about the others? What are your thoughts on this? The only way for me to know that you guys are with me is through the chat box. So let's hear from you. Okay, it depends on the stage of life of that person. If a person feels not happy with the routine, then the comfort zone is bad. Okay, okay. Interesting perspective. What about others? Shireen, if you could kindly confirm if you have received the if you have received the presentation, please.
Yes, Sahib, I just received it a second ago, so I'm trying to open it now, and I'll share it in a second.
Awesome. Okay, so you will not learn new things, all right, if you are in your comfort zone. Okay, very interesting. If you regularly feel sleepy and not interested, then the comfort zone is bad. All right, all right. Okay. Laziness. All right, all right. Okay. So is it a good thing or a bad thing, Mobilink, in your opinion?
Sahib, can you confirm if you can see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so I'm going to go down to the slide that you were on.
Thank you. Okay, so Mobilink says laziness and it is bad. All right. Okay, bad thing since it becomes boring. All right. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, okay. Thank you very much for your input. Now, this is very important to understand this concept. What is a comfort zone? So whenever we talk about comfort zone, being comfortable is very different than being in the comfort zone. Humans always want to remain comfortable. They always want to do things that they have done in the past, that they are comfortable with, that they are confident about. But guess what? Being comfortable is good. But at the same time, if that is stopping you from growing, from learning something new, then there is a problem. Then there is something that we need to think about. And that is where comfort zone is not good. So whenever we talk about comfort zone, 90% of the population would like to remain in their comfort zone. When we are in our comfort zone, we are just thinking about mediocre life. We are just thinking about survival. We have fear in us. We are tired. We focus on being the average. Our thinking is, what if I can't? So these are the things that happen to us when we are in our comfort zone. But guess what? When we come out of our comfort zone, or when we expand our comfort zone, that's where excitement comes. That's where we talk about success. That's where we talk about financial freedom. That's where we talk about confidence. That's where we talk about our dreams, our passions. And at the same time, our mindset shifts. So from thinking about what if I can't, we think about what if I can. So let me give you an example. So one of your manager is going on leaves, and he or she is saying that, you know, that now I'll be going on leaves for one month. Who is going to manage my tasks in the team? And he or she asks in the team that who would like to volunteer to do the task that I used to do as a manager. Now, at that particular time, one person could think, what if I can't? And the other person could think, what if I can? The person who is in their comfort zone, he or she would think that, you know, it's very dangerous. I don't know. What if I can't do it? I should not volunteer. Let others do it. What does that mean? That means that that person is in their comfort zones. They are thinking about the worst. On the other hand, there could be another person who would think, what if I can? All right, if I'm able to take care of these tasks, what kind of benefit would I get in the future? I will learn something new. My manager would appreciate me. And in the future, maybe I could be considered as his or her replacement when that position comes. So you see the difference in the mindset of both people. One person is thinking about failure, while the other person is thinking about success. So it's all in our brain. So before we go into thinking critically, we need to understand how do our brains work. And this is why we are talking about comfort zone. Now I would like again you to take a minute and just think about the challenges that you have shared so far, the challenges that you are facing in your professional or personal lives. And think for a moment that if you come out of your comfort zone, if you expand your comfort zone, do you think you would be able to manage your challenges in a better way? What are you thinking? Yes or no? Do you think that coming out of your comfort zone, expanding your comfort zone would be a little helpful as far as managing your challenges are concerned? I would like to hear from you in the chat box, please. Okay, some very interesting comments that I would like to share with you. So one of the participants feels that comfort zone is not always bad. Some people save their health and brain in comfort zone. Okay, okay. Interesting perspective. We'll talk about that. Okay, another response is that reaching the comfort zone is the result of struggle. So it is good too. Okay, if we leave our comfort zone, are we not in comfort zone anymore? Okay, again, very interesting perspective. Okay, I think we are in transition zone in such cases, going to another, but expanding our comfort zone. Okay, we are talking about the transition, very interesting. I think there is always comfort zone. You thrive to grow and construct comfort zone. So it seems you never leave your comfort zone. Okay, very interesting. Yes, it would help if we make an effort. The time management problem arises because I left my comfort zone. So I made it more difficult for me to reach my goals. Okay. Cause expanding exposure gives the experience needed. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so very quickly, the responses that you have given and the perspective that you have shared is very interesting. So let's try to look at it from a different perspective. You are absolutely right. Humans are continuously evolving. So whenever we talk about coming out of our comfort zone or remaining in our comfort zone, it is a journey. No person would always remain in their comfort zone, nor would always remain outside of their comfort zone. So how we work is that whenever we are learning something new, we are stepping out of our current comfort zone. And whenever we are stepping out of our current comfort zone, we feel the challenges, we feel the struggle. Initially, we are fearful because that is normal, that is natural, because we are doing something for the very first time that we have not done earlier. So initially, it is difficult. And as some people have said that, because it is difficult, some people say that, I would like to remain in my comfort zone because it is difficult. But guess what? Have you ever gone to gym? Have you ever gone to gym? I would like to know from you in the chat box. Yes, no. Have you ever gone to gym? Have you ever joined a gym for exercise? Yes, no. Okay, very good. Very good. So if you remember going to gym, what happened on the first day when you went to the gym? So when you went to the gym for the first time, you were very excited. You did multiple exercises and you were very excited. Yes or no? In the chat box, you were excited. You ran on the treadmill. You took some dumbbells and you exercised. Yes. And then Lucas, absolutely right. What was the result on that particular night? Your body was aching. You were in pain. Yes or no? Those of you who have went to the gym, yes or no? Perfect. Yes, yes, yes. You were in pain. And what did you do next? What did you do next? Did you say that, oh, it's very painful, forget about gym, I don't need to join gym? You probably would have done that, you know, it's very painful, let's not go to the gym. Or you could have continued going to the gym. And what happened after next 10 days? Those of you who continued the gym for more than a week, what happens after next 10 days? Come on, tell me in the chat box. If you continued, yes, yes, very good. So when you continued gym for 10 days, the pain was gone. Now you started enjoying gymming, exercising. See, that is exactly how we expand our comfort zone. So whenever we are doing something for the first time, it is going to be painful. It is going to be difficult. It is going to give us stress. So when you are making a report for the first time, for example, you might have some headache. That is natural. That is normal, because our brain, just like our arms and legs, is a muscle. And whenever you use a muscle for the first time, it is going to be painful. But if you keep on using that muscle, be it your arms, be it your legs, or your brain, slowly and gradually, the pain disappears and you start enjoying it. The same process goes with the comfort zone as well. So whenever you are coming out of your comfort zone, expanding your comfort zone, initially it is going to be difficult. It is going to be painful. It is going to be stressful. But guess what? If you keep on doing it, it becomes a habit. And then again, you are in your comfort zone. See? So for example, when you were going to the gym for the first time, you took 5 kg dumbbells and you have started exercising. At that time, probably 5 kg was a little heavy for you. So you were coming out of your comfort zone. You had to struggle. But after a month, that 5 kg was very easy. Now the same 5 kg, which was earlier outside your comfort zone, now it is inside your comfort zone. Now, how do you expand further? Instead of 5 kgs, you go for 7 kgs or 10 kgs. Again, when you are trying to pick up that 7 kg dumbbell for the first time, you are coming out of your comfort zone. And again, after a month or two, you are able to lift that 7 kg very easily. Now that 7 kg is again your comfort zone. And now expanding your comfort zone would means going for 10 kgs. That is the journey of life. We keep on learning. We keep on growing. We keep on expanding our comfort zone. The idea is that you should never stop. That is the idea. So for example, you are lifting 5 kg. Initially, it's very good for you. It's very healthy for you. But if you keep on lifting 5 kg dumbbell only the rest of your life, your muscles would not grow as much as they could. So the same goes for our life. All right. So, there are some more comments. Slowly seeing the results, encouraged to continue. Absolutely right. Even in reporting, you're trying to improve the report, which was difficult for you at the first time. Absolutely right. It is going to be difficult for the first time, but if you keep on doing it, it would become easy. It would become normal. It would make you feel comfortable. And whenever you start feeling comfortable, that is the time when you need to challenge yourself again and expand your comfort zone continuously. So I hope we have got the idea of comfort zone. Let's move from here to the next slide, please, Shireen. All right. So who is this gentleman? Does anyone know him? Who is this gentleman? Come on. in the chat box? I would not let you sit without typing throughout this session. Okay. Okay. Yes, absolutely right. Einstein. It is Albert Einstein. All right. Yeah, he also looks like a bit like Mark Twain, but he is Einstein. Yeah. So Einstein is one of my favorite person when it comes to these very witty quotations. This quotation is very, very, very important and one of my favorites. And I would like you to focus on this because we are talking about critical thinking. This is very, very important. Albert Einstein says that any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. But it takes a touch of a genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. Now, this is probably the first time we are seeing intelligent and fool words together, because generally we say that either a person is intelligent or a fool. But Einstein, being Einstein, he combines these two words and he says that who is an intelligent fool? So as per Albert Einstein, an intelligent fool is a person who makes things bigger and more complex. So if you have met someone in your life who says, hey, it's very difficult, you will not be able to understand this. There are 100 steps, I cannot explain it to you. Maybe some of your teachers, maybe some of your bosses, maybe some of your relatives. Whoever makes things bigger and more complex is an intelligent fool as per Einstein. And what is the opposite of bigger and complex? What is the opposite of bigger? Small. What is the opposite of complex? Simple. So as per Einstein, who is a genius? A genius is a person who makes things small and simple. Again, let me take you to your school days so you are able to connect the dots. You must have studied with a lot of professors, with a lot of teachers. Do you remember any professor, any teacher from your school, college days, whose classes you used to enjoy, who used to make the subject very easy? Do you remember any such teacher from your life? In the chat box, yes or no, please. Okay, interesting. And now again think, were there any teachers who were very difficult to understand? You wouldn't be able to understand them, or it would require a lot of effort from your end to understand what they were trying to explain to you. Did this also happen? Yes or no in the chat box, please? Were there any teachers who were very difficult to understand, who would make things very complex, very difficult, and you had to struggle to understand them? We are getting responses from 5, 6 people only. I don't know where are the rest of you. Are you guys sleeping or awake? Okay. All right, interesting. So yes, you did have the teachers who used to be very active, and you had teachers who used to make things easier. So those the teachers who used to make things easier for you to understand were geniuses, were courageous geniuses as per Einstein. And those teachers who used to make things difficult, big, complex, they were probably intelligent fools as per Einstein. So what is the key learning here? What is the key learning here? The idea is that we need to make things easier for others to understand. And in order to make things easier, we have to think critically. We cannot make things easier until and unless we have in-depth knowledge of the subject. Once we have in-depth knowledge of a subject, only then we can make things easier for others to understand. And that is exactly what makes us genius. And this requires courage. This requires coming out of our comfort zone. This requires us to continuously expand our comfort zone. So think about it. Think about it. Why are we here today? Maybe one of your reasons, maybe one of your whys could be to make things easier for others in your life. Because that requires courage. That requires you to be a genius. That requires to have in-depth knowledge. That requires you to think critically. And this is why it's very important. And as we go forward, if we could kindly go to the next slide, we'll talk about how we are going to do this. All right. So let's see, what do we have here? Okay, can we have one click? Yeah, one click only. All right. So this slide is very, 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 very important. I would humbly request you that even if you plan to sleep throughout this session, please do that. No problem. Just stay with me for this particular slide, because this is probably the most important slide of this presentation. And whatever we are discussing in this slide has the potential to change your life. This is a very, very, very important concept that I would like you to focus on. All right. So first line, it says, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Okay, one more, enter please. So first it says, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Next it says, watch your words, for they become your action. Let's go to the next one. It says, watch your actions, for they become your habits. Let's go to the next one. Watch your habits, for they become your character. And next, watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Very, very, very important. It starts with watch your thoughts. Have a look at what you are thinking day in, day out. Because whatever you think are going to be the words that you speak. Let me give you an example. When you meet people, you greet them, you say, hello, how are you? And what would the other person say? They would say, okay, I'm fine. How are you? You'd also say, okay, I'm also doing good. I'm also fine. How is life going? Life is very difficult. Have you met people who say like this? Have you seen people around you? Whenever you talk to them, whenever you talk about life, they are sort of complaining. Have you seen such people in your life? Yes or no in the chat box, please. Have you seen such people in your life? When you ask them, how is life? They say, it's okay. It's not good. Life is very difficult. These are challenging times. I'm having a lot of problems. You have seen such people. Now reflect on yourself as well. What are your thoughts? Your thoughts become your words. So if I continuously think that life is difficult, life is boring, life is challenging, my life has a lot of problems, then what would I speak? I would always speak of the negative things. Yes or no? And if I speak of negative things, how would my actions be? My actions would again be negative. So for example, oh, my life is very difficult. So when you speak to me, you say, Sahib, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing okay. You know, life is very difficult. These COVID times are very tough. And now how would my action be? How would be my body language? When I'm working, when I'm interacting with people, my body language would be like this. I'll be dull. I'll be working as if it's not important. Okay, my life is okay. Why should I put extra effort? So my thoughts change my words. My words change my actions. My actions change my habits. Now I am in a habit of doing things slowly. And that habit becomes my character. So whenever you ask someone, what kind of a person is Sahib? He is very laid back. He is very slow. Now that becomes my character. And at the end, what would be my destiny? My destiny would be the same. I will not grow in my life. Do you see the connection? Now let's flip this. Now let's see the other way around. Let's say that Sahib has positive thoughts. So if Sahib is thinking positively, he would say positively, Sahib, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? Alhamdulillah, I am doing great. How is life? Life is great. These are COVID times, but still I am healthy. I have food. I have clothes. Alhamdulillah, life is great. My thinking is positive. My words are positive. When my words are positive, my body language is positive. My actions are positive. Because I am thankful for whatever I have in life, I work really hard because I am grateful for whatever I have got in my life. When my actions are positive, my habits become positive. And then that defines or makes my character. So when someone asks, what kind of person Sahib is? Yes, Sahib is a very positive person. Oh, he always smiles. We get positive energy from him. Again, it all starts with my thoughts, with my thinking. And that thinking is going to define what is going to be my destiny. Our destinies are in our own hands. If we think positively, we will speak positively, our actions will be positive, our habits will be positive, our character would be positive, and subsequently, our destiny is going to be positive. So think about it. Think about it. Our topic of discussion today is critical thinking. Why is critical thinking important? Before we go into critical thinking, we should talk about thinking. And this particular slide gives you a snapshot of how your thinking impacts your destiny. And if anyone is interested in understanding the science behind this particular thing, it is not just mumbo jumbo, motherly statements which I'm sharing with you to motivate you. No, this is backed up by science. And those of you who would like to understand the science, I would like to recommend a few books. So one of those books is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Do read that book. There is another book which is called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. If you read these two books, you would know, you would understand the science behind this particular slide that we are sharing with you. It is not there just to motivate you. I'm sorry, no, it's not for motivation. It is backed up by science. Also, if any one of you is interested in quantum physics, which is one of my favorite topics, which is also the foundation behind the leadership book that I have written, 2 years back. It is backed up by quantum physics. Quantum physics proves today that your thoughts have an impact on your life. Because everything in this in this universe or multiverse, if I may say, is energy. And your thoughts are also energy waves. So when I think positively about all of the participants here, you receive that positive energy from me, and that is reciprocated towards me. And on the other hand, on the contrary, if I have negative thoughts about you, all of you, I would get in return negative vibes. So for example, if I say, oh, you see, today's participants are not here to learn. They're not serious about learning. Now, what am I doing? I'm sending negative vibes towards you. I'm sending negative energy towards you. What will I get back from you? Negative energy. On the contrary, if I send positive vibes towards you, today's participants are great. They are here to learn. They are here to help themselves become better. They are positive. They are listening to me. They are understanding me. They are very serious about learning. Now, when I'm sending these positive vibes towards you, what do I get in return? I get positive vibes. That is how this universe works. So as far as the names of the books are concerned, I will share that at the end with Shireen, and she could share the name of those books with you. So I humbly request you to understand, to realize the power of your thoughts. We are focusing a lot. We are almost halfway through our journey, but still we have not talked about critical thinking. And there is a reason why we have not so far. Before we go into critical thinking, before we go into the tools of critical thinking, it is important that we understand the power of thinking. Because critical thinking, we need to understand the power of thinking. Only then we can talk about why critical thinking is important, how we do it. So let me give you one simple example. Have you ever seen, have you ever visited any construction site where they are making buildings? Have you ever visited any construction site? Yes or no in the chat box, please. Have you visited any construction site? Okay, interesting. And do you see how do they make these buildings? What is the first step towards making a building? So for example, they are making a 20-story building. How do they start? What is the first step? Those of you who have visited any construction site, what is the first step? What do they do first? Do they right away start making the floors, or what do they do first? Lucas, dig a hole, absolutely right. Gulzina, foundation, absolutely right, absolutely right. So the first thing they do is that they dig, they make the foundation. The building is supposed to go up, but before they go up, they go down. Why is that so? Why is that so? Because foundation is critical. Until and unless we have a strong foundation, we cannot erect a building. Be it 5 stories, 10 stories, or 2 stories. We need to first dig the hole and make the foundation strong. That is the most time-consuming element in that process. Similarly, when we talk about critical thinking, first we need to dig that hole and understand if thinking is important. What is the role of thinking? How does it impact our life? Because you may say, oh, forget it. Thinking doesn't make any difference. We should focus on our actions. That's it. Even if I'm feeling negative, no problem. I should focus on whatever I'm doing and things would be fine. No, our thinking has an impact. So before we go into thinking critically, we need to understand if thinking is important and what is the impact that it has on our lives. So this is why we have shared this slide with you. I hope that you will be able to connect with this particular slide and think about it and reflect and realize how our thoughts have the power to change our destiny. So let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, one important comment that came here, I think we should discuss. But negative thinking can also signal that something is going wrong and we should deal with it. Okay, so that is not, let's rephrase it. It's not negative thinking. It is basically looking at things holistically. And and I'm very glad that you asked this question because when we will be talking about some of the tools in the next session, you will see the connection. We'll be talking about the 6 thinking hats by Edward de Bono. That is one of the tools for critical thinking. When we go to that particular tool, you will know what am I saying today. So till that time, just have faith and stay connected. We will give response to this particular question that it's not negative thinking, it's something else. And what is that something else? We will talk about this in hopefully second session. So just stay with me till that time. Okay, so this is another very important quotation. I think you must have heard of Socrates, the philosopher, the genius. He says that wonder is the feeling of a philosopher. And philosophy begins in wonder. So I would like you to think about it. It says, wonder is the feeling of a philosopher. And philosophy begins in wonder. So if you want to become a philosopher, you want to, in my opinion, philosophy is a science and it begins in wonder. And this is who is saying that? Socrates is saying that. So let's move to the next slide and see what else do we have here. Okay, so we have talked about thinking a lot, and I'm making this statement, and I would like you to hear from you if you think this is true or not. Thinking is all about questioning. Thinking is all about questioning. Do you agree with this statement? Yes or no? Because before we go into thinking critically, we need to understand what is thinking. So I am proposing that thinking is all about questioning. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree with this? Yes or no? In the chat box, please. We have more than 40 people here with us. I would love to know what are your thoughts. Let's keep it two-way. Let's hear from you. Those of you who are not yet awake, please wake up. Do you think thinking is questioning the way I put it? Do you agree with this? Yes or no? In the chat box, please. We have got just 2 responses so far. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Yes, agree, but also the answers. Okay, as well as reflecting. Okay, okay, very good, very good. 50-50. Okay, okay, very good, very good. I like it, I like it. Okay, so thinking is questioning. Obviously, I never said that thinking stops at questioning, but thinking starts with questioning. Okay, let's go to the next slide and see what do we have there for you. Okay, so one answer. Okay, so this is Plato, and Plato was another philosopher from the ancient times, and he says that the right question is usually more important than the right answer. So think about it. Plato says that the right question is usually more important than the right answer. Okay, let's see what else another gentleman says. Another gentleman, Albert Einstein, another genius, he says the important thing is to never stop questioning. Let's see another gentleman, Socrates, the teacher, the guru of Plato. What does he say? He says that I know you won't believe me. Remember, he says, I know you won't believe me, but the highest form of human excellence is to question oneself and others. So Socrates, who was the teacher, who was the guru of Plato, he says that the highest form of human excellence is to question oneself and others. So do you see the connection? Why I think thinking is all about questioning. The right questions are more important than the answers. Never stop asking questions. The highest form of human excellence is to question. Because whenever we want to gain a knowledge, whenever we want to learn something new, it always starts with the question. How did we start our session today? With a question. What was the question? What is your why? Why are you here today? We started with a question. Then we talked about the comfort zone. Again, question. Is it good? Is it bad? Question. Should we improve it? Should we continuously expand our comfort zone? Yes or no? Again, questioning. So now you can see the dots connecting. We are moving towards critical thinking. We understood the foundation of thinking. Now we are understanding the importance of questioning. Why do we need to question, and how asking questions help us develop critical thinking? And as we move forward, you will see the dots connecting again. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right. So there is a very interesting TED video on critical thinking, specifically focusing on Socrates, that I would like to play here with you. Let me play it here. If we could pause this slideshow for a moment, Shireen, please. Okay, and let me share the screen with you. Please confirm if you are able to see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. And please also do share if you are able to hear this, if the audio is there. Is the audio there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Let's see this video.
Socrates, one of the founding fathers of Western philosophical thought, was on trial. Many Athenians believed he was a dangerous enemy of the state, accusing the philosopher of corrupting the youth and refusing to recognize their gods. However, Socrates wasn't feared for claiming to have all the answers, but rather for asking too many questions. While he loathed formal lectures, the philosopher...
I'll be pausing in between just to focus on key points. So Socrates was on trial not for saying a lot of things, but for asking too many questions. Now you will see how he used to do it. So he was on trial not because he was saying something to the gods of Athenians. He was simply asking them questions.
philosopher frequently engaged friends and strangers in lengthy conversations about morality and society. These discussions weren't debates, nor would Socrates offer explicit advice. In fact, the philosopher often claimed to know nothing at all, responding to his partner's answers only with further questions. But through this process, Socrates probed their logic, revealing its flaws and helping both parties reach a more robust understanding. These insightful questions made Socrates beloved by his followers. Two of his students, and Xenophon, were so inspired that they replicated their mentor's process in fictional dialogues. These invented exchanges provide perfect examples of what would come to be known as the Socratic Method. In one of these fabricated dialogues, Socrates is conversing with a young man named Euthydemus, who is confident that he understands the nature of justice and injustice. Socrates probes the student's values by asking him to label actions such as lying and theft as just or unjust. Euthydemus confidently categorizes them as injustices, but this only prompts another question. Is it just for a general to deceive or pillage a hostile army? Euthydemus revises his assertion. He claims that these actions are just when done to enemies, and unjust when done to friends. But Socrates isn't finished. He asked the young man to consider a commander lying to his troops to boost their morale. Before long, Euthydemus is despondent. It seems that every answer leads to further problems, and perhaps he's not quite sure what constitutes justice after all. In employing this question-oriented approach, Socrates described himself as a midwife, whose inquiries assist others in giving birth to their ideas. His method of questioning draws out an individual's unexamined assumptions and then challenges those biases. It doesn't always provide definitive answers, but the method helps clarify the questions and eliminate contradictory or circular logic. And by following a line of inquiry where it logically leads, both the question asker and answerer can end up in unexpected places. This technique isn't limited by the conversation's content, making it incredibly useful in numerous fields. During the Renaissance, the method was used to teach clinical medicine. Students proposed their rationale for different diagnoses, while a doctor questioned their assumptions and moderated discussion. In this model, the method could even produce conclusive results. This same approach was later used in other sciences, such as astronomy, botany, and mathematics. Following the Protestant Reformation, it was adapted to tackle abstract questions of faith. In the 19th century, the method became an essential part of American legal education. Professors explored students' understanding of judicial reasoning by challenging them with unforeseen hypothetical situations. This approach is still used today by the Supreme Court to imagine the unintended impacts of passing a law. The Socratic method can be adapted to teach almost any topic that relies on critical reasoning, but its success depends on the teacher employing it. An effective Socratic educator must be well-versed in their subject. Rather than bullying their students or showing off their superior intellect, they should be modest, genuinely curious, and affirming of every contribution. In this regard, Socrates himself may not have been the most subtle Socratic teacher. Historians believe he was deeply critical of Athens' particular brand of democracy and known to pass those concerns on to his followers. These subversive beliefs were distorted in public forums and thought to have inspired two of his pupils to treasonous ends. It was likely for these ideas Socrates was brought to trial and eventually sentenced to death. But even on his deathbed, artists depict a serene philosopher, ever curious to explore the ultimate question. What was life like in Socrates' Athens? Travel back in time to 427 BCE and experience how an ancient democracy made its decisions.
All right. So, what were the key learnings or observation from the video? Could anyone share a few things? In the chat box, please. What were the key learnings, key realization from this particular video? Do you see any connection with whatever we discussed so far? Okay, let's go to the next slide and see what were the key learnings from this particular slide. Okay, so it talked about the Socratic way of critical thinking. And there are multiple steps in when we want to develop critical thinking as per Socrates. Okay, so we have some comments. Let's read them. Ask questions to elaborate further. Okay, that questioning is a powerful. Otherwise, you will be killed. Yes, absolutely. Because when you ask questions, you make others people think. And that is the foundation of critical thinking. So what are the Socratic way of critical thinking? First step is seeking evidence. Again, how do you seek evidence? By asking questions. How do you seek evidence? You ask questions. What is it? How does this work? What are the benefits? What are the pros? What are the cons? So first step is seeking evidence. Okay, let's go to the next step. The second one is closely examining reasons and assumptions. So once we are seeking evidence, again, we are focusing on asking questions, we get some responses. And the next step is to closely examine those reasons and those assumptions. There are reasons when I ask you something, okay, so do you like this training session? You may say, yes, I like it. Okay. Now I would ask you to reason, why do you like it? Or what are your assumptions because of which you like it? Or for example, I say, okay, how was the session? You say, I don't like it. Okay, I would ask you again questions to tell me what is it that you dislike. And then you give me reasons, and probably you have some assumptions as well because of which you dislike a particular training. Just giving you an example. So the first step is seeking evidence. We do it by asking questions. The second step is closely examining the reasons and the assumptions. Again, how do we do it? By questioning. The third step is, let's see what's the third step. Analyzing basic concepts. Let's go to the fourth step as well. So now that we have the reasons and the assumptions, now we analyze the basic concepts. Now we try to identify what are the key ingredients which make a training, a presentation, good or bad. Okay. And then tracing out implications of what is said and done. The next step is that now that we have understood the basic concepts, let's go to the previous slide, please. Sorry. The last point is now we trace the implications. Now we again ask questions in order to help the other person reflect that whatever is being said, what are going to be the implications of it. So let me give you an example. We talked about thoughts become our destiny. So we need to seek evidence. Is it true? Yes or no? Then what are some of the assumptions which make us believe that, our thoughts would become our destiny? And then analyze some of the basic concepts. And then tracing out the implications. So just to give you an example, if I think positively about something, my words would be positive, my actions would be positive, and the resultant would be positive. So now we are tracing the implications. So for example, today's session didn't go well. Now we are at the end of the session. We are analyzing it. And now we are tracing the implications. Why did it not go well? So I would self-reflect and think, okay, so how did we start? Well, I started with a negative feeling that, probably there would be only 7, 8 people in the session. So I was not happy. I had negative vibes. Okay, what happened next? When we started the presentation, I started with those negative vibes, and some of my words sort of reflected my negativity. In the presentation, I said, you see, it would have been great if there were maybe at least about 15 people, but it's okay, we'll go forward. So my thoughts had an impact on my words. And then during one of the discussions, I maybe lost my temper. So it translated into action. And that action became habit during this presentation. And as a result, participants weren't happy. They did not learn. And then they shared their feedback, that the presentation was not good. So do you see the connection? That's how Socrates would critically think. And as we move forward, we will look into other tools as well that are going to help us improve our critical thinking. So I would like you to pause for 2-3 minutes, look at the slides once again, and if there are any questions so far, please feel free to ask. If we could request Shireen to start the presentation from the very beginning and give each slide maybe 5-10 seconds so people could see those slides. And if they have any questions, they could note down, and then we would like to know from you the questions. Just wanted to make sure that we have understood everything that we have covered so far. All right, so any questions so far, please? Yes, no, any questions so far, please? All right, okay, so let's move to the next slide, please. Okay. So there is some question. What do you recommend to read additionally And when is the next session? Okay, what would I recommend to read additionally? I'll share that as we go forward. For the time being, I've shared 2 books that I will share in the chat box as well. And when is going to be the next session? We will mutually decide that, and inshallah, Shireen would be sharing that with you soon. All right, so how do we manage our thoughts? Now that we have understood the importance of thinking, we have touched upon the Socratic way of critical thinking. Let's look at how do we manage our thoughts, because if we have agreed so far that our thoughts are very important, they play a very critical role in our life, now it's important to manage our thoughts. So let's see how can we manage our thoughts. Let's go to the next slide, please. So there is this very beautiful concept which is called the growth mindset. Growth mindset is something which is going to help us focus on our thoughts and subsequently change our destiny. So let's see what is growth mindset. There is a short video that I would like to share with you. If you go to the previous slide, please. I'll share that video with you, with all of you here. If we could, yeah. Just give me a second so I play that video for you. Okay, is everyone able to see the screen, please? Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's play the video. Please do confirm if you're able to hear the audio as well.
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, perfect. Let's look at this video now.
Here are 2 seeds, both planted on the same day, in the same soil, in the same garden bed. One is very curious, full of life, and ready to grow as tall as it can. The other is filled with fear. What if the sun is too strong and burns my leaves once I grow, it thinks. Or what if a beast eats my tender sprouts? No way, not a chance I am leaving my shell. So it remains still and stagnant, rigid in its place. The brave seed feels the heat of the sun above and starts to push hard out of its shell. Sure, it has doubts about reaching the outside world, but its curiosity is stronger than anything. I want to see all the living creatures of this garden, it thinks. I can't wait to feel the morning dewdrops on my leaves. The little seed keeps pushing until a single sprout comes out. It grows and grows through sunny, warm days. It even grows through colder, stormy days, because the brave seed knows that the sun will always return. Throughout life, you will have moments when you feel like either one of these seeds. The way we see the world around us and how we behave towards life is called our mindset. We can choose to have a fixed mindset or to have a growth mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, things can seem too hard. Negative thoughts might cloud your mind and you start to give up easily. I can't do this. You may believe that if you are not good at something, then you never will be. I'm just born this way. The obstacles you face can hold you back, and you begin avoiding challenges. What's the point of trying? Just like the fearful seed. However, you can always choose to have a growth mindset. A growth mindset helps you believe that your goals are within reach with effort and perseverance. Life is a great big adventure. It shows you that failure is a normal part of your journey. The obstacles you encounter will only make you stronger. Challenges and mistakes help me learn. You'll enjoy the challenges you face and become more resilient. I want to become my best self, just like the brave seed. Fear is a natural emotion. We all experience it, and it can make changing your mindset difficult. The important thing is to try. So here are some tips to switch on your growth mindset. Perfection does not exist. Aiming for perfection is like running a race without a finishing line. Trying to achieve it will only exhaust you. When negative thoughts fill your head, you can turn them around by simply adding "yet" at the end. See challenges as adventures. They will make you more resilient and can open new worlds. If you work hard, you will see progress. And don't worry about mistakes. They are a part of life, and we can learn from them. The good news is, the sun always comes out after a storm. By having a growth mindset, you might even find that a little rain won't bother you much at all.
All right. All right, so what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What were the key learnings? What were the key learnings from this video? Please share in the chat box. What were the key learnings? Positive attitude changes the whole picture. Okay, the difference between fixed and growth mindset. Okay, life goes on. Think positive. Okay, never stop trying. Interesting. Okay. Okay. To prefer a growth mindset. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next slide and see some more details about this concept. So, as you have seen in the video, there are two kinds of mindsets, the fixed mindset or the growth mindset. So how do we realize, how do we gauge if I have a growth or fixed mindset? So there are some of the examples that I would like to share with you. How do we look at challenges, obstacles, efforts? That is going to define if we have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Let's look at the challenges first. 2 times enter, please. So, whenever we talk about challenges, we all feel challenges in our life. So, the person with fixed mindset avoids challenges. But on the contrary, the person with growth mindset embraces challenges. Now, do you see the difference? Avoiding challenges versus embracing challenges. And I would like you to look at these words very critically. We did not say accepts challenges. We are saying embraces challenges. There is a difference between embracing and accepting. Let me give you a simple example. Your boss comes to a meeting, you all are sitting there, and your boss says that, I would like one of you to volunteer to write this report. Who is going to volunteer? And say, for example, none of you raise your hand. And then your boss says, Sahib, you have to write this report. And I say, okay, boss, I will do it. Now, my question is, did I embrace it or simply accept it? Do you think I embraced it or accepted it? I simply accepted it. Exactly. I did not embrace it. Embracing means when the boss said that who would like to take this task? And I should have said, boss, I will do this. That is embracing. So there's a difference between embracing and accepting. When your boss says you have to do it, then you have to do it. You say, okay, boss, I will do it. Again, your mentality is different. When you say, okay, boss, I will do it, what's going on in your brain? Your brain says, I didn't want to do it, but now that the boss has taken my name, I will have to do it. What kind of mindset? Negative. What kind of words I would utter? Negative. What would be my actions? Oh my God, I have to make this report. I don't like it. I don't like this job. What should I do? Oh my God, it's very difficult. So you see, accepting is not going to help you develop growth mindset. Embracing would. So let's go to the same example. The boss says, who would like to write the report? I say, boss, I will do it. Now, what is my mindset at this particular time? My mindset is positive. I'm not waiting for others to help me grow. I am coming forward myself. I am embracing the challenge. I know it is going to be difficult. I have never made this report, but still I am coming forward. I am embracing this challenge because I believe that I am going to learn something out of it. My belief shows that I have a growth mindset. So whenever challenges come in your life, do you avoid them or do you embrace them? It defines if you have a growth or a fixed mindset. Let's talk about obstacles. The second one. Whenever we are working in our life, there would be obstacles that are going to be in our way. How do we respond to them defines if we have a growth or a fixed mindset. The person with a fixed mindset gives up easily. So let's go back to the gym example. I started gymming. I went to the gym for 1 month. It became very difficult. My body ached. I did not see any improvement in a month. I did not develop six packs or strong biceps, triceps. And I said, forget it. It's not going to work. Which mindset? Fixed mindset. On the contrary, the person with growth mindset persists. He or she knows that going to gym for a month probably would not give me the results that I want. It is going to take time. Nobody has six packs, all the strong biceps, triceps in a month. It is going to take time. So the person with growth mindset persists. That is the difference. While the person with fixed mindset, he would go to gym for 1 or 2 days, his body would ache and he would say, it's so difficult, I can't bear it, leave it, forget it. While the person with growth mindset knows that I will go to gym, it is difficult initially, I know it, it is a muscle, but as much as I do this continuously, these muscles will improve and I will grow. And the same goes for your mind. When you are making that report for the first time, it is going to be difficult. You might have headaches, but that is a sign that new synapses are being built. That your brain, which is also a muscle, is growing. And when you persist, when you keep on working on that report, which is very difficult, finally there would be a day when that difficult report becomes easy for you. So again, the difference between growth and fixed mindset. How do we look at effort is another sign to identify growth or fixed mindset. The person with fixed mindset thinks or believes that efforts are fruitless. There's no, why should I put effort? If it is in my destiny, I will get it. If it is not in my destiny, I will not get it. What kind of mindset is that? fixed mindset. On the contrary, a person with growth mindset sees efforts as a step towards mastery. He or she knows that whatever effort that I'm putting today, it may not seem to produce any results right now, but guess what? Eventually, it will have an impact. Today, I'm facing very difficulty in making that report. But if I do it continuously, if I do it more than twice, thrice, 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, there would be a day when it becomes easy for me. So challenges, obstacles, efforts. Let's go to the next slide and see what are some of the other things that define. These are very, 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 very critical. Criticism. How do you respond to criticism defines if you have a growth or a fixed mindset. So a person with fixed mindset ignores useful negative feedback. Whenever you give him or her a negative feedback, he would ignore that. He would not listen to you. So let me give you an example. So for example, at the end of this session, we ask you for a feedback on this particular session. And say, for example, some of you give me negative feedback about the session. You say that, the session was not good. These were some of the problems because of which we are not satisfied with the session. Now, for example, I have a fixed mindset. How will I respond to that? I'll give you examples so you understand it better. So now I have received the negative feedback and I am a person with fixed mindset, and I would say, so you are going to tell me how to run a presentation. I have been doing it for 18 years. I have done it for more than 100 companies in more than 5 countries, and you are going to tell me how to do my job in a good way? You don't know anything about training. I know. I am the expert. I have the education. I have the experience. You do not know what a good training is. So what am I doing? I am ignoring a negative feedback, but which is very, very useful. Let's say, on the contrary, what does a person with growth mindset would do? He or she would learn from the criticism. Now let's assume I have a growth mindset. And again, at the end of the session, I ask you for feedback and you say that, the session was not good. We did not like it. And I would ask you, okay, could you please elaborate what was not good? The content was not updated. The content was old. My delivery method was not good. Was there internet connectivity problem? Were the examples not relevant? Was there any communication gap? You were unable to understand me. Did I have an accent problem? So when I'm asking you these questions, I am showing interest to learn from you. And then I would thank you for the feedback. And then I would reflect on the feedback that you shared. And then I would say, okay, Sahib, so I've got the feedback, that the content was not updated. Okay, is it true? Yeah, it is true. How can you say that? You see, the presentation, the stats that I shared with the audience, they were 5 years old. And now there is some more research in that particular topic. So it means that I need to update my content. Okay, so was the feedback correct? Yes, the feedback was correct. Was the feedback negative? Yes, it was negative, but it was true. So what should I do? I accept my mistake. I thank you for telling me that this content is not up to date, and you have shared examples of where you have quantified, you have shared the proof that this was not updated, and I am embracing that. And who is this feedback helping at the end of the day? You or me? It is helping me. Because next time when I run this training program for any other organization, I would have more updated information thanks to you. So a person with growth mindset learns from criticism, and a person with fixed mindset ignores it. Last but not the least, success of others. How do people look at success of others? And that is going to tell you if you have a growth or a fixed mindset. This is the last slide. I know we are going 5 minutes above our schedule. Please stay with me for 5 minutes and then we will conclude. So a person with a fixed mindset feels threatened by the success of others. And on the contrary, a person with growth mindset finds lessons and inspiration in success of others. So I'm working in an organization. I've been working in this organization for 10 years. And a new chap joins in. He or she is doing great work. And within 1 or 2 years, he or she got promoted. I got my first promotion after 5 years, but that person got promoted in 2 years. Now I could respond to that in 2 ways. Say, for example, I have a fixed mindset. I will feel threatened by that person. Oh, in 2 years, he got promotion. Oh my God. Maybe in next 3 years, he will get another promotion and he will become my boss. And I'll feel threatened. Again, my thinking would become negative. My words would become negative. My actions would become negative. And at the end of the day, my life will suffer. And on the contrary, if I have a growth mindset, how would I respond to that person? I would feel inspired from that person. I would try to learn from that person. I would say, Saima, you have joined the organization and in just 2 years, you got promotion. I got my first promotion in 5 years. I get inspiration from you. Could you please tell me, how do you do it? Could you please share the best practices with me as well so I could also learn and grow? Again, my thinking is positive, so my words are positive, and so my actions are positive, and at the end, my destiny, my resultant would be positive. Does it make sense? Yes or no? In the chat box very quickly. All right. Okay, perfect. So before we conclude, I would request you one action item for the next session, so that before you come to the next session, this is what I would like you to do. Are you all with me here? Yes or no? I would like you to take about 15 minutes and evaluate your own thinking and do a SWOT analysis. I'm sure you all are aware of the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Let me write down in the chat box as well. So we have SWOT analysis, where we talk about what are some of our strengths, what are some of our weaknesses, what are some of the opportunities, and what are some of the threats. How many of you are aware of SWOT analysis? In the chat box, please. Yes or no? How many of you are aware of it and used it? Let's hear from you guys in the chat box very quickly. Okay, perfect. So you know about SWOT analysis. If there is anyone who is unaware of SWOT analysis, I would request them to go meet your colleagues who are saying yes, who know how to do SWOT analysis, and have your thinking SWOT analysis done. When it comes to your thinking, what are some of your strengths? What are some of your weaknesses? How could they become your opportunities or threats in the future? So next time when we come back for the second session, we would start with asking you to share your SWOT analysis, your thinking SWOT, and then take things forward. So every time we meet here, I would request you to do some of the exercises, some of the action items, so that we translate the session learning into action. So next time when we are meeting again, let's share our SWOT analysis with each other and then take things forward from here. So very quickly, a quick recap of what we covered today. We talked about what is your why. We talked about some of the challenges that you face in your life. Then we talked about what is a comfort zone and why do we need to expand our comfort zone continuously to grow. We understood the difference between intelligent fool and a genius from perspective of Albert Einstein. Then we talked about how our thoughts have an impact on our destiny. Then we talked about thinking is all about questioning. We heard from Plato, we heard from Einstein, we heard from Socrates as to why questioning is important. We saw a short video. Then we talked about the 4 steps of critical thinking, the Socrates 4 steps of critical thinking, where we talked about seeking evidence, closely examining reasons and assumptions, analyzing basic concepts, and tracing out implications for what is said and done. And then we talked about growth mindset. How do we respond to challenges, obstacles, efforts, criticism, and success of others, which define if we have a growth or a fixed mindset. So with this, I would like to again thank you all for investing your time in today's learning. And I hope that this is an investment and you are taking back something with you from today's session. As far as I am concerned, even if you are taking one key learning back from this session, I would consider my time investment to be successful. So with this food for thought, thank you very much, all of you. And over to you, Shuri. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sahib, for this wonderful food for thought, food for critical thought, I must say. I think throughout the session, what I was thinking and reminded about was Einstein's quote, right? The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? And I think a lot of times our doings, like you said over and over again, you reminded us really beautifully, our doings are a lot of times influenced by our thoughts. And so it's very important for us to analyze our thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts, those mental blocks or the comfort zone that we're in, sometimes those thoughts may not even be our own thoughts, right? Culture implants thoughts on us. Our parents, our siblings, media, relatives, teachers, and our bosses give us thoughts. And eventually then they become our thoughts, whereas they might not even be our thoughts to begin with. So I think it's very important to take this reminder from you that we have to constantly question our thoughts, critically examine our thoughts. And, you know, the point that you made about developing new synapses, a lot of people nowadays talk about rewiring your brain for success. So at any stage or at any point in your life, we're able to rewire our brain and develop those new synapses to ensure success. So I think those were some really good critical points to examine. And just one last thought that I would like as a food for thought for the participants, that, you know, when you're examining your thoughts, a lot of times you have 2 different sources. There is a weak voice for a lot of us, a weak voice in us that tells us, you know, it's okay to try. The growth mindset thought, right? It's okay to try. Let's explore. Let's try something different. But there is a much more powerful, overpowering, overwhelming thought, which is sometimes louder for a lot of us, that tells us, the fixed mindset thought, that tells us, what if you fail? You'll make a fool of yourself. You'll embarrass yourself in public, or things of that nature. I think we have to re-examine which voice is stronger, which voice is louder, and how do we feed that weak voice, that softer voice, which is perhaps the voice of our true self. So with that thought, again, thank you so much, Sahib. It was a very thought-provoking session. I'm sure the participants enjoyed it. For the participants, this session was recorded. So if you wanted to revisit it, you would be able to. And if you would like to encourage other people to listen to it, the recording will be available. And the part 2 and the part 3 of this series will be announced the same way the first one was announced through your emails. So with that, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And Sahib, once again, it was very generous of your time and knowledge that you sharing with us, not just 1, but 3 sessions on this very important topic. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.